Well, welcome back. Thanks for joining. I think rather than calling this day 2, I think we're going to call this part 2. Let's get you guys caught up. So I found a transmission for it. It's in the truck. The engine's in the truck. I've got the Holley mounted. I've got the factory wiring harness pretty well cut down. We've got a mounting spot for our Holley. We've got a mounting spot for our gauges. The control box anyway. We've got a lot of our Holley harness ran. We've got a lot of stuff figured out. We're just kind of waiting on parts to come in. Should be here. I'll have my fuel system stuff here today, and then I'll have my other order of just miscellaneous odds and ends that I'm waiting for in. I think it should be here tomorrow. So then we'll get to rock and roll on some more stuff. So, but I think I've rambled on long enough. Let's show you guys where I'm at. There too. Everything's pretty well set up where I want it. Customer wanted to keep AC, so we're keeping AC. Customer wanted to keep cruise control, so we're going to retain cruise control. Customer wanted to move more air, so by golly, we're going to move some more air. There you go, and the intake's just kind of sitting on it. It's not bolted down permanently. I'll have to pull that back off, do some other little stuff, but there you go. And here is where we're mounting our control box for our gauges, and that's where we're putting our terminator at. That's pretty much where the factory ECM was, and of course all the wiring just kind of runs down under there. So that's where we're putting all that stuff. Let's move on over to the dash and see what we've got for gauges. So this is what we've got for gauges. Nice little setup from Dakota Digital. Ought to look pretty nice when it's all said and done. Bolts in the factory locations. So that's pretty handy. Works with all the factory bezels and stuff. So I'm working on doing some wiring for these Dakota Digital gauges. I've got my I snipped my, well, I didn't snip it all off at once. Let's rewind there. I went through and I snipped off each wire that I needed one by one. You know, I started with what was it? Started up top with illumination, and what illumination is, that's like your dimness. You know, that's kind of cool to have. And then high beams, right turn, fuel gauge, obviously that's kind of handy to have. Ignition power. I don't like to grab grounds from these connectors just because they can be what's considered a dirty ground. I'm not even, depends on what it is, I'm not even really a big huge fan of pulling powers from some of this stuff, just because some of this stuff is old and they've got splice joints, and sometimes it just doesn't work all that well. But depending on what it is, I'll go ahead and use the ignition power or whatever else. But the grounds, I rarely ever use grounds. I normally always run my own ground. I mean, you can get them from the kick panels, or you can usually find a place to ground anywhere. So just kind of put that in your noggin there. But before I loom this up, I kind of wanted to show you guys that we guys kind of got a good visual. You know, I've cut that connector off, and this wire right here, it's kind of like, man, I don't know, I might need that. That's for the rear wheel anti-lock. I don't think we're going to need it, but just in case, I'm gonna save that one. But I mean, yeah, I mean, all the other wires, you know, we don't need. They were all pretty well dead. So I mean, you just run your length of wire however long you think you need. A little bit of a mess going on down here, but that's kind of what I do. Let me go ahead and get this taped up, and I'll kind of show you how I loom this stuff up. So here we go. I like to tape them up there, and then I just kind of wrap them every so often. And there we go, all wrapped up nice and neat. A couple of tips with this stuff: after you cut it, you need to burn it. If you don't burn it, it will do that and continue to do that until you burn it. You got to singe it. You know, if you're feeling fancy with this stuff, it's really easy to get some heat shrink and put over there, and it really makes the stuff look a lot nicer. If it's something that's going to be seen a lot, like under the hood and stuff, I usually go ahead and throw some heat shrink on just to make them look a little better. So there you guys go. It's a little bit of my wiring right there. I think we're going to call this part 2 complete. I think on the next part we'll talk about parts and hunting down parts and stuff like that. So, and I've got some pretty cool stuff in the part stuff to show you too that'll probably save you guys some bucks. I mean, stuff that doesn't hardly cost you anything. I mean, it takes you a little bit of time whenever you're at the yard, but man, it's not bad, and it saves you a lot of money. So we'll go through some of that on the next video. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. You guys have a great day. Thanks.